We crave connection, we long for intimacy. It's a fundamental human need to feel close to others, to share our lives, our joys and our sorrows. This desire for connection drives many of our actions and decisions, but often we sacrifice ourselves for it. In our quest to be liked, to be accepted, we sometimes go too far. We take on more than we can handle, we stretch ourselves thin, and we end up feeling overwhelmed and stressed. We say yes when we mean no. We agree to things that don't align with our values or our schedules. We nod along, even when every fiber of our being is screaming to decline. This habit of saying yes when we mean no can lead to resentment and burnout. We please others to avoid conflict. We smile and agree, even when it makes us uncomfortable. We give in during debates, not because we are convinced, but because we want to keep the peace. This constant need to please can erode our sense of self. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries are essential tools for maintaining our well-being. They help us define what is acceptable and what is not, what we can handle and what we cannot. Boundaries are not selfish walls. They are not about shutting people out or isolating ourselves. Instead, they are about creating a safe space where we can thrive. They are not about shutting people out. Boundaries are about fostering respect and understanding in our relationships. They help us communicate our needs and expectations clearly. Boundaries are about honoring ourselves, our values, and our limits. They are about recognizing what we need to stay healthy and happy, and making sure those needs are met. They are the courageous act of saying, "This is what I need." It takes courage to stand up for ourselves, to voice our needs and desires. But it is a necessary step towards living a fulfilling life. Think of boundaries as fences around a garden. Just as a fence protects a garden from being trampled, boundaries protect our personal space and well-being. They protect what's precious inside, our time, our energy, our mental health. These are all precious resources that need to be safeguarded. They allow what's good to flourish. When we set boundaries, we create an environment where we can grow and thrive. We can focus on what truly matters to us. Without fences, the garden gets trampled, its beauty lost. Relationships are the same. Without boundaries, our relationships can become strained and unhealthy. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships. They help us maintain balance and mutual respect. They ensure that both parties feel valued and heard. They allow us to show up as our authentic selves, fully present and engaged. When we set boundaries, we can be more genuine in our interactions. We can connect with others on a deeper level, without the fear of losing ourselves in the process. When we don't have boundaries, we lose ourselves. We become chameleons, changing colors to fit in. We abandon our values to please others. Boundaries help us stay true to who we are. They allow us to express our needs and desires. They give us permission to say no without guilt. Imagine a world where everyone felt safe to express their truth, where differences were honored, not judged. Boundaries make this possible. By setting boundaries, we create space for authenticity. We invite others to do the same. This is how real connection blossoms. Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Without it, connection crumbles. Boundaries are how we communicate and receive respect. When we set boundaries, we show others how we expect to be treated. We teach them what we will and will not tolerate. This is not about control, but about self-respect. Think about it. When someone disrespects our boundaries, it hurts. It creates distance. On the other hand, when our boundaries are honored, we feel safe and valued. Boundaries are the language of respect. They allow us to build relationships based on mutuality, not manipulation. Codependency thrives in the absence of boundaries. It's a pattern of unhealthy relationships where we lose ourselves in trying to fix or please others. Boundaries are the antidote to codependency. They help us differentiate our needs from the needs of others. They remind us that we are not responsible for other people's happiness. Imagine two people drowning, each trying to hold the other's head above water. Without boundaries, we get caught in this cycle, exhausting ourselves trying to save the other person. Boundaries give us the strength to throw a life preserver, not jump in and drown ourselves. They allow us to offer support without sacrificing our own well-being. Section 5. Speaking your truth, hearing your needs. Boundaries are essential for healthy communication. They create the space for honest dialogue, where we can express our needs and feelings without fear of judgment. When we don't have boundaries, communication becomes muddled. We avoid difficult conversations. Resentment builds. Boundaries allow us to speak our truth with love and clarity. Think of boundaries as the container for a meaningful conversation. They hold the space for vulnerability and authenticity. Without them, communication spills over, creating more hurt than healing. Boundaries empower us to say, this is what's okay with me, and this is what's not okay. They allow us to be heard and understood. Section 6. Friendships boundaries, respect and space. Friendships, like any relationship, need boundaries to thrive. They require mutual respect, understanding, and a healthy dose of personal space. Just because we're close friends doesn't mean we have to be joined at the hip. Boundaries allow us to nurture our individuality while still being there for each other. Imagine a friendship where you feel free to say no without explanation, where your time and energy are respected. Boundaries make this possible. By setting boundaries in friendships, we create a dynamic of mutual respect. We allow each other to grow and evolve without feeling suffocated or taken advantage of. Section 7. Safety and balance. The gifts of healthy friendships. Friendships are one of the most cherished aspects of our lives. They bring joy, laughter, and a sense of belonging. But what truly makes a friendship healthy and fulfilling? It's the balance and safety that come from mutual respect and understanding. Boundaries are essential for creating emotional safety in friendships. They act as invisible lines that define where one person ends and the other begins. These boundaries help us communicate our needs and limits clearly, ensuring that both friends feel comfortable and understood. They allow us to be vulnerable with each other, knowing that our feelings will be respected. When we share our deepest thoughts and emotions, we do so with the trust that our friend will honor our boundaries and provide a safe space for us to express ourselves. Without boundaries, friendships can become unbalanced. One person might feel overwhelmed by the other's demands, while the other might feel neglected or unappreciated. This imbalance can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts, which can strain the relationship. One person might overgive, while the other takes advantage. Resentment festers. When one friend constantly gives more than they receive, it creates a power imbalance that can lead to feelings of frustration and bitterness. This can erode the foundation of trust and respect that is crucial for a healthy friendship. Boundaries prevent this by ensuring that both people feel valued and respected. They help maintain a sense of equality in the relationship, where both friends feel that their needs and contributions are acknowledged and appreciated. Think of boundaries as the scales of justice in a friendship. They help balance the give and take, ensuring that neither friend feels overburdened or taken for granted. This balance is key to maintaining a healthy and sustainable friendship. They ensure that both sides are giving and receiving in a way that feels good and sustainable. When both friends are mindful of each other's boundaries, it creates a harmonious dynamic where both feel supported and valued. Boundaries allow us to show up authentically in our friendships without fear of judgment or rejection. They give us the freedom to be ourselves, knowing that our friend accepts us for who we are. This authenticity is the cornerstone of true intimacy and connection. They create a safe space for true intimacy to flourish. When we feel safe and respected, we can open our hearts and minds to our friends, deepening our bond and enriching our lives. Healthy friendships built on the foundation of boundaries are truly a gift that keeps on giving. Section 8. The freedom and joy of healthy boundaries. Setting boundaries is not about being rigid or controlling. It's a way to communicate our needs and values clearly to others. It's about honoring our needs and creating healthy, loving relationships. When we set boundaries, we are telling others how we wish to be treated, and in turn, we respect their boundaries as well. When we have boundaries, we experience a profound sense of freedom and joy. This freedom comes from knowing that we are in control of our own lives and that we have the power to make choices that are best for us. We are free to be ourselves without the need to please or appease. This means we can pursue our passions, spend time with people who uplift us, and engage in activities that bring us joy. We attract people who respect us and our limits. When we are clear about our boundaries, we naturally draw in those who appreciate and honor them. Our relationships become more authentic, more fulfilling. We build connections based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than obligation or guilt. The journey of setting boundaries can be challenging at first. It often requires us to confront our fears and insecurities and to communicate openly and honestly with others. It requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to prioritize our well-being. We must be willing to say no when necessary and to stand firm in our decisions, but the rewards are immeasurable. As we become more comfortable with setting boundaries, we find that our lives become richer and more meaningful. When we learn to set healthy boundaries, we step into our power, We become more confident, more assertive, and more in tune with our true selves. We create a life filled with love, respect, and authentic connection. By setting boundaries, we pave the way for deeper, more meaningful relationships and a more fulfilling life overall. Section 9, your turn. Embrace your boundaries. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Where do you need to set better boundaries? What fears are holding you back? Remember, setting boundaries is an act of self-love. It's a gift you give to yourself and to your relationships. Start small, be consistent, and watch your relationships flourish. Share your experiences with others. Let's create a world where boundaries are not seen as selfish, but as essential for healthy, loving relationships. Together, we can cultivate a culture of respect, authenticity, and connection.